So Biden coming to town not only reminds us of his lockdown policies, it also reminds us of his inflationary policies, because under Joe Biden, our country has turned into inflation nation. Every single thing that people need to buy has gone up, up, and up, and more increases than any of us have seen, certainly in my cognizant life. You got to go back 4 decades to be able to find something similar, and that is that's doing a huge burden on so many different families. And the thing is this didn't just happen by chance. It was as a result of their failed policies. He came into office, he cranked up the printing presses. They had massive amounts of borrowing and spending, trillions and trillions of dollars. They were warned by even liberal economists, if you do this, you are going to spark a major inflation. And here we are. First they said there wouldn't be inflation. Then they said it was just a blip. Then they said it would peak. Now they say they don't know what to say now. They're trying to pretend like you don't notice it. So they've been wrong on all this stuff. And the inflation that we're suffering under is as a result of their policies. And just think about how they handle fiscal versus how we handle fiscal in Florida. You know, in Florida, I pointed this out when I was in New York, you know, we spend money very wisely. We respect taxpayers in the state of Florida. Our budget in Florida, even though we have millions more people than New York State, our budget is less than half the size of New York's budget. And yet, when New Yorkers move here, what do they tell me? You guys have better roads, better infrastructure, better service, and we have higher performing K through 12 schools as well. And so what are they getting for that money? What is Biden getting for all the money he's wasting? And not only do we have the second lowest tax burden per capita at the state level in the country, with no income tax, of course, we have a record budget surplus, bigger than we've ever seen before in the history of Florida. So you see how they handle it, both with Biden, but also with states like New York and like Florida. And the thing about Florida is not only do we have surplus, but we've done big things. We've done big infrastructure. We've done big stuff for education. We've done big things for natural resources and environment. And we're happy to do those because it's important for the state. But we're doing it in a way that respects taxpayers and that is sustainable for the long term. These guys are running this country into the ditch with $31 trillion in debt. And these other states have massive debt as well. So we're doing it the right way. And then what is their response to the inflation problem in Washington? They pass legislation called the Inflation Reduction Act, which just the name of that alone shows you what they think of you. They think that you are just so stupid that you will actually believe if they take some piece of a jalopy piece of legislation like that, say it's going to reduce inflation in the title, that you'll actually believe that. They're insulting your intelligence when they call it the Inflation Reduction Act. So they pass it, and the question is like, what is in that is reducing inflation? They are creating 87,000 new IRS agents. And they're not going to go after the limousine liberals that vote for them. It's going to go after people like you. It's going to go after people who are small businesses, middle-class people who can't afford to have 6 accountants and all these lawyers. That's what they're going to do for that. And I just think that any member of Congress that voted for Inflation Reduction Act and those 87,000 IRS agents should be required to be audited every year by the IRS. And I'm just very glad that we have an opportunity on November 8th to once and for all retire Nancy Pelosi. You know, I mean, honestly, it shows you with a lot of these people, and you see how long they've been in Washington, yeah, we'll win and we'll be able to retire some of them. But the best thing to do going forward is to have term limits for members of Congress. That would solve a lot of the problems. And my thing is like, okay, 87,000 IRS, why not do 87,000 Border Patrol agents? You know we need it there. Because they don't care about the border when you have millions of people illegally coming across, violating our border. They don't care about that. They don't care about the fact that the cartels are making a fortune with what's going on down there, and they're eating our lunch every day. They don't care about criminal aliens getting into this country. They don't care. There were over 90 suspected terrorists that came across the southern. That's just that we know of. There's probably many more. They don't care about that. We had a sheriff's deputy in Pinellas County killed by a twice-deported illegal alien who came across Biden's open border 6 months ago. They don't care about that. They don't care about the record fentanyl deaths that we see ravaging communities all across this country. And it's not limited to the southern border. That fentanyl is getting everywhere, and it's caused huge heartbreak for many families all across this country. They don't care about that. They only care when you start seeing illegals in D.C., New York, and Martha's Vineyard. Then they get upset. So Biden is reminding us by coming to Florida that he has failed on inflation, that he has failed at the border, and he has failed on energy prices and energy independence. Because he came into office, and what they decided to do was to kneecap American energy production. We were energy independent when he came into office. Now he's begging Maduro from Venezuela for oil. He's begging the Saudis for oil. And the Saudis don't want to play ball with him because he's playing footsie with Iran, so they cut production with OPEC. Of course they're going to do that. They're going to do. But here's the thing. Biden has put himself in this position by kneecapping our own production. So we're now more vulnerable to what happens overseas. We need to be energy independent, and that means producing more oil here. And you're paying for it at the pump. You're paying for it with utility bills. Natural gas has never gone up this much as it has over the last year and a half, which is mostly what utilities. So